Hey, what's up guys, Ara here, and welcome to the instant race reaction for the 2019 Singapore Grand Prix. And that was actually a bit of a slow burner, but it turned into a really decent Singapore Grand Prix. So I can safely say, actually, we've had 8 decent or great races in a row, really. It's been absolutely amazing how this season's turned around here. So much action in the midfield. Eventually, after the initial first stint of not much happening with the top runners, they really balled over to a really nice GP with moves flying out left and centre. And of course, the main thing to talk about, the race winner, Sebastian Vettel, getting back on the top step of the podium there. A 1-2 for Ferrari, which I think was a really great race overall for Ferrari. I mean, obviously, if you're really championing Leclerc, you can see it as a bit of an annoying race for him. He was leading after the pit stops. They swapped round. Vettel came out ahead with the undercut strategy, and Leclerc came out second. Even he was pissed off in the cockpit, but overall, they turned a 1-3 into a 1-2, and in my eyes, that's a great race for them. And of course, Sebastian Vettel showed after that he got the jump that he kind of deserved to have that lead anyway in terms of keeping it, in terms of there might have been calls from fans alike to maybe swap them around, manually, but, Vettel controlled that race. Leclerc was allowed to attack, but Vettel just kept it under control the entire time and really showed a bit of a Red Bull era kind of Sebastian Vettel, even setting some PB lap times right at the end of the race on quote-unquote worn tyres there. So it really was a much needed win also for Seb, and I'm really happy for him. I don't know about you, Tom.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him. We've said for a while now, you want to see him win, at least one. I thought a little while ago, I was thinking to myself, wow, did I actually see Sebastian Vettel's last win live at Belgium last year? But luckily enough, he has won another race, so that kind of gets put to bed now. And I still think he should have won at Canada, so in my opinion, it was long overdue. Also Germany, you really wanted him to win there in that race as well, considering where he started from. So, credit to him. And he's looked good all weekend. The upgrades worked, both for him and Leclerc, but also for him, he's been quite poor lately. And I actually thought he had pole yesterday. I really did. Those last laps really caught me out from Leclerc and Hamilton. I thought that first lap from Vettel in qualifying was like, whoa, okay, I think he's done it already, like the Vettel of old, and he controlled it, so fair play to him. I think he drove a really good race, especially all those safety cars at the end, getting a good restart every single time to, keep the gap to Leclerc. So yeah, credit to him, and no mistakes, which is something that has been a big problem of his over the last year or so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no mistakes whatsoever. Really, I mean, some very punchy moves. I mean, God, the move he made on Gasly to get up the order when it was kind of he has to take the risk to make sure he can get that gap to Leclerc and Hamilton, get the hurdles of cars that they're trying to pass on alternative strategies. But my word, that move on Gasly was heart and mouth, but that was like the old Vettel of like striking, no mistake, gets it done, cold-blooded move there. Really great. And I mean, to talk about overtakes, there were so many great ones. Ricardo was making moves left, right, and centre in that first part of the race until he had that unfortunate puncher issue. Gasly, I think, really, I mean, a lot of people were saying Vettel, best driver of the race, Norris maybe. I think Gasly, personally, for me, because he started from outside the points, P11, alternative strategy, and he just looked confident once again in a Formula 1 car, which is really great. But back to Ferrari for a second, you mentioned qualifying, Tom. I think the upgrade that Ferrari brought to this race for Singapore, I think might be one of the best upgrades we've seen in recent times in Formula 1 in terms of how much they've gained back. We thought, shoo-in, Ferrari not going to perform well. We know this isn't a track for them. And these upgrades they brought have been amazing. And the way Leclerc, let's not fault Leclerc. His pole lap was something else, like dancing the car around. It was, for me, like the closest thing, maybe from barring some Hamilton laps we've seen in recent times, that was another one of those things where, it's almost that same sort of vibe as that Senna at Monaco lap, where it's just like, he, lost the back end completely halfway through the lap, nearly could have steamed into the wall, saved it, and goes on to get pole. It really was something that it just shows the car just came alive and was just amazing. So kudos to Ferrari for having that anyway, of turning the car around. And then, like I said, any way you look at it, they turned a 1-3 into a 1-2. So I think in my book, that's a good day in the office, no matter which way you want to look at it. If you are a Leclerc fan, things happen sometimes in racing. I honestly feel like Ferrari did not know the undercut was going to be that powerful. Like, I think they maybe misjudged how big of a gap that Vettel had in clean air, and maybe also a mistake of not telling Leclerc to push hard enough on the in-lap, perhaps. But I don't see how, you can call that they should have swapped it manually. I think they did the right thing of saying, right, Leclerc, if you want to go overtake him, you can. Just keep it clean. But like I said, Vettel was on form today. Very on form. So
yeah, I think even if they wanted to switch it, I think all them safety cars at the end just wouldn't allow it to happen. The gap to Verstappen just never really gave them that safe buffer. I think had they had a smooth run, they might have done it. Maybe.
And with the way Hamilton was closing up on Verstappen at the end there, it was a double, with all those safety cars, it was too much risk to be like, let's manually swap with them anyway.
Yeah, it makes them hard tires cool off and
exactly
try to switch them back on again. We've seen before that's quite like Magnussen.
Exactly.
He was going backwards. But I agree. With the upgrade package this weekend, it's just got to a point now where after the last 2 seasons, when Ferrari said they're bringing upgrades, you're just like,
upgrades.
Okay, fair enough, But for once, because like Mercedes, whenever they bring upgrades, they always work. Like you see a sublime performance gain. Like I distinctly remember, for example, I think Spain last season, or the 2017. I can't remember which. It might be 2017, but I remember in Spain 2017 they brought like a completely different car Mercedes, and you can see the difference in pace. Like they were just a level above, and with Ferrari, they keep saying, last season we got all these upgrades, but they ended up going slower last year, But for once, Ferrari finally maybe looked like the team that we was meant to have at pre-season.
Yeah,
which
basically.
is big. I think I'm going to wait until after Russia to reserve judgment, because Russia is much more of like a fast-flowing, high to medium-speed corner track, which is much more Mercedes' forte, so to speak. And there's that massive pit straight as well. So we'll see if any of the Ferrari's straight line speed advantage obviously drops around a much more of a normal racing track. So, overall, good stuff. Very positive for them and happy for the team. And I agree with you. I think ultimately the 1-3 into the 1-2 was the way to go. If Leclerc's fighting for the championship, then fair enough, but he's not, and neither is Sebastian Vettel, and ultimately they need points to make sure this season isn't a complete failure.
Exactly.
So they got all the points today, and no one predicted that.
Yeah, and it also shows, they're starting to understand the car, and that's great for next year, because unlike this year, it is not a massive reg change, so they can go in knowing that, okay, we're starting to understand this car, what to do on it to get the downforce back whilst maintaining the straight line speed, because Leclerc on the pole lap, if you compare it, was still rapid in a straight line. So, what have they done to that car, mainly on the front end, also maybe on the rear as well. Really good stuff there. So outside Ferrari and Merc had a bit of a weird one. Really, I really don't, they clearly tried to go for, there might be a safety car that comes out, so let's just keep Lewis out there. Didn't work out in the end. They're going to have to look at themselves, because it's once again one of those things where they try to be too clever for their own good, in a way.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And obviously they lost out to Verstappen, which I didn't think was on the cards. Red Bull really did not look that great this weekend, surprisingly.
No, that was the shock of the weekend, I think, even more than Ferrari. I think Red Bull just not having pace at all.
Yeah, so Verstappen gets the podium. So that was, they're going to have to question that a little bit and obviously work a little bit harder on that, understanding, well, not even understand, just, I just don't see why they kept Lewis out for so long. The safety car gamble, I know there's a 100% record of safety car in Singapore, but the amount of laps he was having to stay out, I think that was too much of a gamble, in my opinion, looking at it on the TV, basically, and the way you could see how powerful the undercut was. Like, Vettel was 2 seconds a lap faster than Hamilton, even before he hit the traffic. And then even when he hit the traffic, whilst Hamilton was pitting, the way, like I said, Vettel cut through the field, basically, it was just all never going to work, really, for Merc. And, that all was really great to see. Vettel cutting through like that, controlling the race, just all really good feel. Away from the top guys, then, Albon had just an okay race. He said he was always going to struggle against Verstappen in Singapore, and he did. So there you go. P6 though, still solid job, I guess. Norris then P7. He had a very quiet race. He was there.
He finally got the points.
Yeah, he was there the entire race, though, so very quiet race. And that's why, for me, I personally think, away from Vettel maybe getting the best driver just for the fact he won, I think Gasly had the best performance of that race then in P11. Just the way he did certain overtakes, like the one on Lance Stroll he did, round the outside of the back straight on the left-hander. Exquisite move. Like, I was watching it with Nira, my flatmate, and it was just absolutely insane. Such a shock that he got that move done. And he looks just confident back in that car. Like, that was the Gasly of last year, and that's the real Pierre Gasly for me, in my opinion, and that's how you can tell. I think that Red Bull is so geared to max that I don't think anyone has a chance. Yeah, Albon's taken to it a little bit better, but maybe that just shows that Gasly's one of those drivers like maybe Jenson Button back in the day, where it needs to be in that operating window, otherwise he just can't drive it. Don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was funny because I was saying to my dad, like, if Gasly gets past Norris, I'd love to see Gasly versus Albon. That'd be quite ironic in a way. But I think for me personally, I think what didn't give Gasly the driver of the day was probably not passing Norris. I think had he passed Norris and got best of the rest, I think then maybe he might have got the points.
Because
he was the best of the midfield runners. But fair play to him. I thought he had a good race as well. And overall, good weekend. He outpaced Kvyat all weekend, even in qualifying yesterday. And I agree. I think you can put anyone in that Red Bull. Dare I say even Lewis Hamilton, and I think they're going to come up short. I think it reminds me, I said it before on the podcast, the parallel between MotoGP with Marc Marquez and the Honda. Lorenzo's his teammate. He's qualifying 15th, 12th. He's been injured a lot, but still, he's like nowhere near Marquez, and you can put anyone in that bike, and you're not going to touch him. Like the man-machine combo, with that Red Bull Verstappen mix is like
Yeah.
it's optimized to such an extreme.
Exactly, yeah.
You're not going to get no one to come up and measure up against him. You know, they're always going to fall short. So,
and then we move on to the end of the top 10. Hulkenberg, after being last place, having to pit on the first or second lap there, to get back up into P9 just shows how actually manic that race was in the midfield. And it's really great drive from Hulkenberg to recover that position. And then the final one, Giovinazzi, P10 points, 2 in a row now. Obviously, could have been 3 with the blunder, but he's bounced back from that, got points in his home race, got points here, and he's doing it at the right time where there was question marks about him.
Exactly.
And this weekend, we went into this weekend knowing that Hulkenberg's not going to Haas. Hulkenberg said that he might not even be in F1. He's not bothered by that. And you had Ferrari saying, we back Giovinazzi. We think he can come good. And now he's got points again. So it's coming at the right time for him. Really happy for him there. And he actually looked strong the entire race weekend. He was ahead of Raikkonen at the very start of the race. And, was doing very, very well. Actually, he was on the same strategy as Gasly pretty much, going as long as he could. Had a bit of a kerfuffle with Ricciardo, but recovered from that. I think that was more Ricciardo's kind of late dive bomb. Yeah. Just really solid stuff. So that's the kind of top 10. We'll go into more reaction of the entire midfield because there were so many midfield fights. We can't just cover it all in this race reaction. So we'll go over it in a more in-depth podcast later on in this week, guys. But if you have enjoyed this race reaction, then be sure to hit the like button and let us know what you thought of that race, especially Sebastian Vettel's victory and that whole situation with Ferrari. Let us know. I'm sure there'll be some very cutting-edge opinions, I guess, either way on that situation. But Vettel, maybe, hopefully, finally the win he needs and the bounce back he needs to try and mentally reset. We don't know. We'll have to see. But that's been the race reaction for Singapore, guys. Till next time, if you aren't around here, subscribe, and we'll see you guys then. Goodbye. Enjoy the rest of the day.